Sorry about that. This week I picked two songs that just by coincidence had the word heaven in either the title or the lyrics. One is Knocking on Heaven's Door by Bob Dylan, and one is Last Kiss, which is a song recently made popular by Pearl Jam, but decades ago in the early 60s, it was written by someone else, a gentleman named Wayne Cochran. And then a band shortly a year or two later made it a huge hit for them. I want to say their name was J. Frank Wilson or something like that. And oh man, I'm going to draw a blank. I'll have to look it up. But if you search it on YouTube, you'll see a video of them from the early 60s. And they're the ones that made that a huge hit. And it's called Last Kiss. I'm going to start with that one, and then I'll do Knocking on Heaven's Door. Hopefully you can hear me over my air conditioning that just kicked in. The original version, oh, and by the way, I get my sheet music for these from musicnotes.com. In case anyone wants to try and follow along and learn these. The original version is in G. The newer version that Pearl Jam did, I believe, is in F or some version of F. I had the sheet music for their version at one point. I'll have to find it. I thought I also found it on musicnotes.com, but I couldn't find it today. But it's out there. But I'm going to follow along the original version today, and then maybe some point in the future, if I find their version, I'll come back and do it again. So the original version, and again, I'll start with Last Kiss, and I'll go through the chords in case someone is using this to get started learning guitar. This would be an excellent song to start with. Actually, both of these, but this one in particular because it's very basic chords, very standard chords. So the first chord is a standard G. You can start by putting your index finger on the second string from the top on the second fret. Then put your second finger on the top string on the third fret, and then put your ring finger on the bottom string on the third fret. The next chord is a E minor. So if we were going to do an E, the way to turn an E is an E minor. If we were going to do an E, you would start by putting your index finger on the first fret, third string from the bottom, and then your second and third fingers or your ring fingers on the second fret, second and third string from the top. That would be an E. To make it an E minor, all you do is pick up your index finger, and that's how you turn a standard E into an E minor chord, and then you strum everything starting at the top. The next chord shows as called a C sus2. That means C suspended 2. You're going to go up to the third fret and use your index finger to press down and fret. You can also say bar it, that you're barring it. Press down on every string except the top one with your index finger. And then using your pinky and ring fingers on the fifth fret, so skip the fourth fret, on the fifth fret, press down on the middle two strings. You can also call that fretting. So you're fretting the middle two strings. And then strum everything except that top string that we left out to start with. The next chord is a standard D chord. So an easy way is to start with your ring finger on the next to bottom string on the third fret. And then on the second fret on the bottom string and on the third from bottom string, use your index finger and second finger there, and leave out the top two strings, but include the third from top string, the open D string. That gives it your D bass for the chord, the D bass note for the chord. So now we're back to G again. Now we're back to E minor again. Then they add the standard C chord. So for anyone that's brand new, that's going to be the first fret next to the bottom string with your index finger. Second fret, the third from the top string with your second finger. And then on the third fret, the second from the top string, which is the C, and that gives it the C bass note for the chord. And then you leave out the top string, but strum everything else. Then they go back to the D that we saw. And then the G. Let's see, I think that's it. Yeah, this one just has some, nice standard chords in it. So it'd be an excellent one for someone that's just getting started to start with. So I'll try and run through it one time. Oh, where am I, baby? C sus2. Oh, took her deep away from me. G. She's gone to heaven, so E minor back to me. C. So I can walk her, so I can see my baby. D. G. E minor, dance call, C, back to the D, G, there's a E minor straight, C, oh, slow, D, the angel was there, G, stop, slow, E minor straight, C, oh, D, the sound, G, screaming tones, E minor, the bass lines, C, and the scream, the D, G. Then they go into the chorus, G, oh, E minor, baby, C, the Lord to come, D, G, I know she gonna be loving E minor, so C, so I can see D, I'll stop there on this one. But those chords repeat for the rest of the song. As I mentioned, the next one I was going to look at is Bob Dylan's Knocking on Heaven's Door. This one's also nice and easy if you're just starting out. It literally just repeats three chords, three groups of chords in two pairs. So the first group is G, D, A minor 7. The next group is G, D, C. So we've literally just seen all of these except for one. So we just saw G. We just saw D. The new one that I didn't mention is A minor 7. So this is A, right? If you fret the next to bottom three strings on the second fret. So instead, leave out the not the bottom one, but start with your ring finger on the next to the bottom string, and then the two strings above that with your index finger and second finger, and then fret everything but the top string. That's a standard A. An A minor, you can change it and use your index finger. Use your index finger on the second from bottom string on the first fret, and then your second and third or ring finger back where we were on the second fret for the top two strings that we had already been fretting. And again, leave out the top string. That's A minor. And then to turn A minor into A minor 7, you literally then just lift up your ring finger and leave your index finger and second finger where they were and play the same strings. And that's how you can turn an A minor into A minor 7. Also, how you turn um, A into an A minor, if that's helpful. And then the other chord that gets thrown in, so then they do it again, G, D, but this time they play C. I haven't listened to the song in a while, but it does like some kind of rhythm like that. But that's literally the chords in the song. I'll try and go through this one real quick too. Mama, take this back off me. I can't use it anymore. It's getting dark, too dark to see. I'm knocking on heaven's door. 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 And then you go back for the second verse. So I hope this is helpful to someone that's just starting out with guitar. I'll stop there for this week. Thanks.